Hey everybody, it's me. It's Lenora from It's a New Dawn. How is everybody doing? It is November here in New Jersey, and I am back in my tiny home. I don't know. I could still record inside, but I figured I'd hang out in here so you can see the bear picture. Some people say that I look like I'm in a sauna, but it's not a sauna. It's a tiny home on wheels made out of wood to look like a log cabin that matches my log cabin that I live in. I'm really happy to be with you all. I am sitting down with a gentleman named Eric Patrick Thomas, a.k.a. Mr. Inspire. He is a Flint, Michigan native and entrepreneur who is passionate about changing the way people view disabilities. This passion came after a fateful night in 1997, which Eric suffered a spinal cord injury that paralyzed him from the neck down. Throughout this journey, Eric uses his experience to empower resilience and inspire change for people with barriers. In addition to serving the community as a public speaker, both motivationally and at the House and Senate hearings, Eric sits on several state boards as a voice for people with barriers. He is an advocate for self-determination living, hip-hop artist, D-Man ambassador, and is the founder of Inspire brand clothing. Eric is also the proud owner of Easy Awareness by Design, a business specializing in graphic design for custom apparel, signs, and banners, which offers on-the-job experience to people of all abilities. This is I cannot wait to hear your story, Eric, but I also want to point out to my listeners, for those of you who don't know, I have a severe hearing disability, and Eric uses voice recognition to be able to talk. So it might be a little bit of it's hard for me to kind of understand them sometimes, but I want you guys to bear with me, and because I really want to hear everything you have to say, Eric. So I ask for your patience and I ask for our listeners' patience. So, on that note, I'm ready to hear your story, Eric. Thank you for
Awesome.
joining me. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. And it's a beautiful November.
Hmm.
Beautiful November.
It
Uh,
is.
uh, I'll take it back to growing up in Flint. Uh, as a baby, I was always around like wordplay, like Mother Goose, and Dr. Seuss. So that's the books that were read to me, kind of rhyme time. So I've always had this passion of like how words have rhythm. My aunt was around a lot. She's a musical person. So at the same time, I would do like act out musicals. One of my favorite is The Music Man, the original Music Man.
Hmm.
Um, my uncle, he's an 80s kind of rockster and stuff. So I was always growing up listening to music. My mom had a big, diverse record collection. And then my dad, he was more rock and roll. So music was something that I just kind of fell in love with as a passion. My name, I'm even named after Eric Patrick Clapton. So that's how I got my name. That's how my
Oh,
mom and
Eric
dad.
Clapton. Eric Clapton.
Eric Patrick Clapton is
Okay.
his
And
name.
how old are you? How old are you now?
I am 43 now.
Oh, okay. You're
hmm
great. All right.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I've always had a passion for music and trying to figure things out, which is probably where my entrepreneur kind of brain comes from, or spirit. And then before I was 2, my parents got divorced. So I I know that that had a big effect on my childhood because I had to step up and be the man of the house right away, because I lived with my mom. So I always felt older. It was like right then I felt older. Like I always just felt older than what I was. And when I look back at the age that I actually was at the incidents or the times that I of memories, it just seemed like I was so much older. Um, my dad got remarried again after my mom, and then I had a stepsister, a stepbrother, and another stepsister. One of my
Mm-hmm.
stepsisters that was 2 years older than me, she got hit by a car and she died, and that kind of changed.
Oh man.
that changed the path of the relationship between my stepmom at that time. They're not married anymore, but it was kind of like uh, more like the feeling of like, why is my daughter not here and your son is? That's my feeling. And that's what I was
Mm.
feeling for years. So, I mean, I'm sure that that had a lot to do with,
Wait, that's the way, yeah, that's the way you felt. That's the way you felt. But do you know if that was true?
yeah, for sure.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, based on some mental games and things like that. Yeah, and the looks and just
Mm.
incidences that happened. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Mm.
And so there was that. I was a happy child, but I had anger problems because I could always find happiness because I was the only child with my mom and dad. So I could entertain myself in the mirror. I could go, do whatever, and just entertain myself and make myself happy. And and then you know, I was in kindergarten. Then it was okay. I never was a school person, and we moved around a lot. So like by the time I went from kindergarten to first grade to second grade to third grade, we were already at like two or three schools. So it was like trying to find stability just wasn't really there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it also helped me survive because I could adapt to my environment and be able to make friends with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
and then
Were you always in Flint? Were you always in Flint?
not all the time. Majority of it before my mom got
Oh, okay,
married.
but it.
My mom got remarried when I was in my freshman year, going into my freshman year. So we
Mm-hmm.
left Flint and went to
Mm-hmm.
Clio, which is like more of a suburb area. Um, and my dad,
Mm-hmm.
he moved around different suburbs that are in Genesee County after he left Flint.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
I was still always as fascinated with like wordplay and rhyme time. And then when I made it to elementary school, I think it was like mid elementary when Nintendo came out. Uh, I had a great idea. There was a video store that was across the street. So I used to go there and study and analyze how VHS and betas were dropped off and rewind and late fees and everything. So when Nintendo came out, I started renting my Nintendo games to the kids in the neighborhood so that I could take that money and build my collection. So I built my
Oh.
library and they got to be able to get the games without spending a lot of money at that time. At that
Huh.
time,
Okay.
there wasn't 1,000 games that came out every day. You know what I mean? You had
Right.
to,
Right.
like,
Right.
yeah. So I got involved. So that was my first time as like a business owner, or being an entrepreneur. I mowed lawns and shoveled snow and always knew what the value of a dollar was. And you had to save to get things. It wasn't just given. I got allowance. My mom taught me to be an adult at a very early age. How to do the laundry, how to clean, how to have responsibility. All those things. You come home from school, you take your clothes off, and you put your play clothes on. No matter how, even if they were a dollar or they were given to me, you take them off and you put your play clothes on. So and then I also started getting into BMX racing, bowling. At one time, I wanted to be a professional bowler. Skateboarding. Uh, at the same time, while I was going through all that, I did a lot of things that I got in trouble with. I was kind of like out in the out in the streets with my friends, being mischiefs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Getting in, just doing stuff that not mature. But I guess and I'm not sure why things were happening the way it was. And I tried out like in middle school, I tried out different things like drinking and smoking and uh, whatever you want to call it, drugs. And then I had bullies too when I was growing up. So I also had peer pressure and bully pressure from the same thing. Sneaking out. I used to sneak
Mm-hmm.
out of my house all the time. Well, we lived in a trailer at that time.
Mm-hmm.
and I used to sneak out a lot. And then one time a group of us got together and we started going out every night and getting into cars and joyriding them. Um, it didn't even seem like it was a crime. It just seemed like we were just.
Right. And how old were you then? How old were you?
I was in seventh grade, so what?
Seventh grade?
Yeah,
Seventh
yeah,
grade?
yeah,
That means you were what, 12? 12?
yeah, maybe, yeah, or 13 because
Wow.
I got held back in first grade
Oh,
twice. Not to mention, I had a psychiatrist
okay.
at third grade. I was the only person in elementary that was going to see a
Well,
psychiatrist. So I was
we all
like,
need somebody, so
yeah,
that's okay. That's all right.
but
So you were joyriding, 12
yeah,
years old.
we were going out every night and getting into cars or finding cars and just kind of just it was like a game. It was like it was the five of us and then we said we're gonna stop. But then one person in the group decided to do it again. Once you do it, it's like a slippery slope. And they did it.
Okay.
And all of us were in agreement to stop, but he did it. That one incident sparked the police to come back to come out and investigate, like to do a full-fledged investigation. So I can remember we just picked up my friend Sean. Now I'm in Michigan. There's a place called Cedar Point in Ohio. It's an awesome amusement park. Okay. We go pick up Sean. We're gonna go to Cedar Point the next day. It's a Friday. Okay. So then we're playing basketball on the playground. Then all of a sudden I get tackled. Okay. No idea what's going on. And then it's the police. Okay. So now I'm in
Okay.
handcuffs. I'm in handcuffs, and then they're asking me what's going on. I'm denying. I'm denying like crazy. I'm like, no, no, I don't know what you're talking
hmm
about. But then
hmm
I see the police
hmm
car come up
You're
on the
12.
playground.
You're 12.
Right,
Of course you're
right,
gonna deny. You're
right.
12.
But then I see the police car rolling up on the grass, and I see one of the people that's in our group in the back of the car like this. They know everything,
Oh,
and he's crying and he's beat red. And
mm,
they know, they know, they know. I'm like, what's
yeah,
I
scary.
was like, what is, man, why'd you tell them? So it's obviously there's no denying it now. So then he gives me the option uh to go back to the trailer because my mom is, in getting ready to take us to Cedar Point for the next morning. And so I take my bike and I ask him, can I take my bike with me? And so he follows me and Sean gets in the back of the cop car and then we get to the trailer. Now I'm in handcuffs. My mom's dancing. I think she was listening to Prince or something and just having a good time. Just food's cooking and stuff. And then she sees me, she sees the police, she sees handcuffs, and I saw that look on her face, and I don't ever, ever, ever want to see that again. It was like
Mm,
disappointment times a
mm.
thousand. And I was just like, and I had to tell her what happened. And it was just like all the hours that she works or, like 'cause she was working at Burger King at that time. And it's not like she was working at Burger King because she loved it. She was working at Burger King to support, put food on our table. At the same time, my
Right,
dad was
right.
working at Myers nonstop too. He was a grocery manager at that time. But it was just like all this work that we put in, and you do this. And it was just like,
Mm.
so it was kind of a wake up call. My
And
friend, the
you
one,
did. You woke up and you realized it, right, Eric? You
yeah, I
you
did, I did,
realized it even at 12 years old. Because a
yeah,
lot of kids wouldn't realize that. Like a lot of kids would just be like doing their thing and not think about, wow, my mom's really working hard for me and my dad's really working hard for me. So for you to realize
yeah,
that at that age is pretty good, right? Don't you think?
yeah. I would say yes, but I also felt adult too. So I felt like it just felt like I let everybody down, not just her, but just everybody. You know, like I got caught. Uh, and then good thing the person that actually, that they caught, my friend that was in the back of the cop car, his dad stepped up and said, "Look, we're gonna get together. We're gonna go to everybody. We're gonna tell them we're gonna carry groceries. We're gonna mow your grass. We're gonna, shovel your snow, whatever you need to get them not to press charges. And we did. So we were very busy
Wow.
our 7th grade and 8th grade year. But then again, then after that, my 8th grade year, I moved. So then my mom got married, and we moved to a new place called Clio. And I was very uh, diverse. I had friends of all, ethnic backgrounds, different cult, whatever people liked. I never looked at somebody and said, "It's because you like that, I don't like you," or I just accepted you, and we could get along. I liked
Mhm.
having people that had
Mhm.
different, people that weren't the same. Well, there it wasn't like
Mhm.
that. It was like you're this way, or that. You're outside. You're an outsider. Well, also at the same time,
Mm.
which I didn't mention when I was when I was back in elementary, like 4th or 5th grade, I got introduced to this thing called hip hop. MTV, Fab Five Freddy, and I was like, whoa, that's the word stuff that I like. That's the word and the rhyme
Mm.
time stuff I like. Then before you know it, you had Run DMC, LL Cool J, and then the Beastie Boys, and I started writing lyrics, hip hop lyrics or rap lyrics, and then that
You
carried
wrote
on.
for them? You
No,
wrote
not from
you
no no
wrote
no
for
no
them?
no for myself. For myself.
Uh, oh,
It,
oh,
it,
oh.
it like inspired me wanting to be a hip hop artist.
Mm.
So then
Okay.
from elementary to middle school to high school, I was always around people that wrote that also rapped. And we had our groups and stuff and performances. Of course, before we would just perform like with a hairbrush on the, outside in front of the neighborhood audience or something like that. We didn't have like microphones and things
Mhm.
like that. Except I did have a Fisher Price record player. I did have a Fisher Price record player. So
And you pretended with that.
yeah. Well, I pretended. I also
You
watched them.
pretended with the record.
Well, yeah, I also saw them scratch records. And I was like,
Like do this? You mean like do this?
it did
Like
not work.
that, right?
Yeah, well, that
Like with
didn't
the
work.
record?
Yeah, it didn't
I'm
work
just
well.
saying, that's what you mean.
Yeah, because I was seeing them do that, but I didn't realize they had a mixer and and two turntables. I'm sitting here scratching my records all up. I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, that didn't work very well. And
Right, right, right.
so yeah, I mean, so the hip hop music followed me. Not to mention, with the records, my friend, his parents, he had records like George Clinton Parliament, Al Green, Dolomite, so Richard Pryor. So I was getting a good taste of just everything, not just one style. I
Right.
was always an open box, always open-minded, person. And then so now I'm in high school. I'm still following the music. I didn't get along in school. There was no stability in school. Um, my mom got married. I had two younger stepbrothers at that time. So he has two kids that are younger than me, I think 2 years and 4 years. And then also my dad now has a new girlfriend, which is now his wife now, my stepmom. And she had three kids also, but they were older, two boys and then one girl. Yeah. So, and that was sixth
Big
grade when they
family.
met. That was 6th grade when they met.
Mm.
So I'm trying to go to school. It's not working out. What was the first thing that started? Oh, I had a couple senior high school girls come to me. Hey, Eric, you want to skip with us today? I was like, what's skipping? So then they're like, well, you go with
Uh,
us. We're going to go have some fun. We're going to come back and you're going to go home like you went to school all day. I was like,
Yeah.
okay,
How do you avoid that?
to avoid it, to
Right,
avoid it.
right.
I'm a guy, I'm a
That's what
freshman.
I
These are
said. How
beautiful
do you
women.
do? Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful women. I'm like, well, you could have told me that we were going to do this, and I probably would have said, okay. So I said, all right, let's do
Right,
it.
right, right, right.
Well, it started and it did not stop. Did not stop. And then I started learning strategies on how to skip, like how to ride the bus, how to get back on the bus, how to leave, how to make it look like I was there. You learn. And I was skipping with girls. So what do you expect? You know? Then
Mhm. Mhm.
so then I started failing classes, and then I I then I started. So I failed classes. I used to go home at lunch hour, but then one time I went home at lunch, no, the hour before lunch because I failed that class. My friend Ian and I, so we go to the house, my house where we're living. I forgot my keys, so we sneak into my back door. My where my room is a sliding glass window. So we go in through there, and then we're sitting there, we're eating food, we're watching Rap City. I think it was on VHS or something, you know. And then we hear a bunch of car doors, and I open up, and I'm like, Ian, the cops are out there.
Oh,
And he was like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, man. Something must be going on out there. So then, like, I'm just like, la la, you know, like, I'm like, you know, I should probably check out again. So when I open the door, there's a barrel of a gun right in the doorway. So I don't know, I don't know the police are coming
uh-oh.
in, you know. So I slam the door on the gun, try to run about 3 steps out of there because I don't know what's going on. And then it's the police, and they say freeze. And that situation could have turned into a really bad situation. And so now I'm on the ground, and there, Ian's looking at me like, "What did you do?" I'm looking at Ian like, "Did you do something? Like, what's going on?" So they come, they search him, they make him kneel down on the floor with his head on the couch, and then they make me get up. They search me, and they do the same exact thing. They're not telling us what's going on. I don't know what's going on. Then my stepdad comes to the door, and they're like, do you know that, you know, then they finally say that the neighbors called the police, said that there was a break-in and entering. So they thought we were robbing the place.
Ah,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah,
oh.
yeah. So my stepdad had to identify us.
So
And then the
you
guy
got in
would,
trouble with your parents, though.
I would say, yeah, you know, this is how it
For
was when I went back
skipping
to school.
school and
It
right.
got, oh yeah, all privileges. I got in trouble so much that one time I was just in my room, no phone, no stereo, no TV, no nothing, just you yourself in the mirror. And they didn't. A good thing they never took the mirror away.
Well, it was different. It was different then, though. It was different then, though, Eric, because
Yeah,
there were no cell phones then. There wasn't any, right? So, I mean, yeah,
there was the landline.
that it's all relative, right? Right. It's all
Video games.
relative. Like now,
You're
it's
taking
just
the
like this.
video game away.
Yeah.
Like you're taking Sega away
Yeah.
at that time. Oh
True.
man, you know.
True.
So
Just you,
now,
yourself, and I.
so now I'm going back to school, but now I got this notebook. When I go to school, I got to have it signed every day that I was there
Mm.
and how was my participation. So that's the other thing. And then not
Mm.
to mention while I was in high school, I got 72 tardies just from talking, walking girls to school, being the last one
Mm.
there. So I ended up going to Saturday school for a while. As my friend said, so you were part of the Breakfast Club. I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's what that was.
Right.
So junior year comes, and I end up going to this trade school thing called Skill Center. Mr. Watkins is my teacher.
So
Printing,
you're about 17. You're about 17 here.
yeah, because I was almost 19 when I graduated. Right, yeah.
Okay.
So Mr. Watkins, printing, graphic design, and photography. So that's what I do for half of my day. I'm learning skills. And I really like photography. So I get through the junior year, and then he invites me to come back for senior year. So now I'm going there again. And it's really cool because there's people from all other schools in Genesee County that are also going there at the same time. So I'm learning photography again. I really liked it. Then that's when he's like, "What are you gonna go to college when you graduate?" And I was like, "No, college. I don't like school." He was like, "You can go to college for photography." And I'm like, "What?" Yeah, right. I didn't believe him. So he brought in the Art Institute of Pittsburgh and Lansing Community College, and they looked over my portfolio, and sure enough, I could go to college for photography. So that's what.
Mm.
So I almost went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh, but I ended up going to Lansing Community College because I wanted to have a safety net in case I failed. That I only was like 45 minutes away to my mom and stepdad's house, you know, in case I failed. Because I just did. I don't know why I thought I was
Mm.
going to fail, but and then my friend Ryan, that was also taking was in class with me. He goes to Flint Northern. He was going to also take photography at LCC. So we were like, well, let's move in together. Let's just get a house together. I'm working at Myers as a grocery stocker. I could probably get you a job. So let's do that. So he graduates. I had to wait for him to graduate because I graduated in 3.5 years of high school. I learned how to get credit hours and get out. And so I waited for
Wow.
him.
Good for
And then,
you.
yeah, thanks. And then we moved in August of 96. So at that time, I am now 18. No,
Okay.
I'm 19. I'm 19. Yep, I'm
Mm-hmm.
19 because I used to sign myself out of school when I was 18, my senior year. So um, it would didn't have to skip anymore. I could just sign myself legally out. And then so we move. We go to LCC. We're both working at Myers. I get him a job at Myers. We're taking photography. It's just us. We find a recording studio. We both started recording music. Then so it was just learning, getting used to that. And then we start going to the club. So now we're doing club life.
Uh-huh.
We're learning. We're making all kinds of friends, and you name it. We're hitting up the club Friday, Saturday. We're moving our schedule to make club life. Well, then one night we went to an after party, and while we were there, this guy got on the microphone, was rapping, and we were like, "Whoa, that guy's bad. He's really like." We were like, "We gotta do a song with him." So Ryan and I talked to him afterwards. His name's Cameron. Goes by Big Perm. Never been to a recording studio yet. He just freestyled on microphone. So we said, "Hey, let's go talk." So we go talk about 3 in the morning. We're out at a place called Theo's, like a Denny's. We're eating. We're just sharing life experiences. He's like, "I'll come over tomorrow and see how you guys are." So he comes to the house and listens to us. We do a freestyle session. He's like, "All right, I like you cats. Let's do a song together." So I scheduled studio time. We're only supposed to do one song. That was it. We come out of the studio,
Mm.
3 songs later, and then we get back to the house. We're all looking, and I'm like, "Hey, man, we should all be a group." So I'm like, "Well, what do we call ourselves?" We were all thinking the same thing. I opened up the dictionary or thesaurus. I don't know what one it was. I point to one word and says miscellaneous. That's where miscellaneous was born. And that was the name of our group. Cameron,
Okay.
Ryan, and me. So we started recording music and performing in the city. And then September 19th show is coming up. We're going to celebrate our music project. Plus, we were going to get a distribution deal with this company I was talking to. So they would distribute our music in the record stores and stuff. I know I'm dating myself, record stores, but but so we had the celebration. It's September 19th, but September 20th, because it was an after party of the club. So I'm in the house. There's a lot of people in the house. I go outside to check the parking lot. I just walk out there. I don't know why I walked out there, but I was like, I'm just gonna make sure everything's cool and calm. I come back to the house, come back to the stairs, talking to my girlfriend at the time. Then I was there for like 5 minutes. Then someone comes on the DJ van. Then that's it. Pow, 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 pow. That's where life completely changed in a flash. I got hit.
Wait. I'm sorry. Hold on. Somebody came and shot you?
Yeah, they pulled a gun and shot me.
They shot a gun out of a van they were driving past.
No, they came around the DJ van. The DJ van was like the van that was in front of the house
Oh
so that
my
they could,
God.
yeah, it's like a big van with no windows, just in the front.
Oh
Yeah,
wow. Oh,
yeah,
I actually, this is where I'm listening so carefully because I'm thinking an accident, maybe you were in a car accident and this happened. See, I didn't know how this happened. Okay, so you were shot.
yeah. I was shot at the age of 20.
Uh,
I just turned 20
uh,
in July. Got shot in September.
oh,
Yeah.
oh,
So the happiest time, just now my world's been rocked. And the bullet went in my third and fourth vertebrae. They shot me from the back side, so the back left side. So I spun, then dropped to the cement. I'm looking up at
oh.
the dark sky,
Do
and
you
it's
remember
cold.
this? Do
Oh
you
yeah,
remember this?
oh yeah, for sure.
Oh,
Yeah. And then I'm in and out of
oh,
consciousness. I'm not able to. So I'm unable to move from the neck down or anything at all. And everything's like throbbing and echoing the the bullet, the gunshots.
oh.
And then I'm not able to even say help. I'm not even able to do
Yeah.
anything. So I'm unable to like communicate with anything around me. But then also I can hear
Oh,
people. I can hear it's like someone's been shot, Eric's been shot, or and then you hear the chaos around you. Now I'm not able to move my head and look up and go, oh, I'm just laying there. I'm flat. There's nothing. There's no more I can do. And at this time, I'm not even breathing.
Oh,
I'm lost of breath, no breath. So I'm
but you
struggling to
know that
survive.
you know this is happening. You know this is
Yeah,
happening. Like, but you can't communicate, right? You can't let them
unable to
know.
unable to communicate. Every sense,
And
every
were you
sensory was
shot
shut
more
down.
than once?
Well, we know for sure because I got the bullet in my third and fourth vertebrae, but on the back of my head, there is some raised skin that goes like across. So it's possible one like grazed me when I got spun from the first bullet. Because when I
Oh,
like that, like, oh, if you hear something from your
oh,
left, you automatically instinct, you look to your, where it's coming from. So yeah, so I'm struggling, but then I felt like there was like I was unfinished. Like I was almost there. I almost reached that goal, and then it got just taken away like out of nowhere. So I felt like I was like, we got to keep going. Like whatever the circumstances are gonna be, I'm willing to. I'm gonna work. I'm gonna push through it. Like this can't. This isn't gonna end now. Like you know, I guess it was like I was praying. You know what I mean? Like a conversation to keep me on this
yeah. But
earth
when did you feel that way? When did you feel that
the
way?
whole
Like
time.
this is
The whole
where it's
time.
going to end, and I
The whole time it's going
like
through.
from the beginning.
From the time that I was
Wow, good for
struggling,
you.
surviving, I was just like,
Wow.
you know, yeah, I was like, just keep me on this earth longer. I know that there's more that I can do. I know that I have potential. Like, all this stuff is happening. And then before you know it, I'm going in the hospital. They're putting 4 screws in my head. And then they're putting tubes in my throat. And they're intubating me because I'm not able to breathe on my own. And then I
Right.
wake up. I wake up and yeah, my mom, my stepdad, my dad, my stepmom. And then my go to sleep. Oops, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Mouse grid. Go to sleep. I gave it the command. That's why it started to, the voice recognition software thought I wanted it to type.
Yeah.
So um
Oh.
so I gave it the W word. That's the command you give for it to start typing. So I see them. Now this time my dad and stepmom lived in Indiana. So they were there quick. Like I was like trying to figure it all out. That's when they tell you you're shot again. But then you're trying to move and you're like half of you is like this is temporarily and half of you is like I have no idea how long this is going to be. But you didn't have enough time to think about why you weren't moving. You're more thinking about surviving because I had to survive. The first goal right now is to survive, to live, to survive. That's the first thing. Don't
So
worry about
you never felt like let me die, or if I'm never gonna
never,
move again, or
never,
you,
never,
that's so great.
never
Wow.
was angered at,
That's why you are. Wow.
never did I say I don't like I
Wow.
was angered at my creator. I never said this, that
Mm.
that's it, it's over. No, never.
Why me? Why me?
Uh,
Wow.
I'm sure that that probably has came across like, why did this happen to me? Yeah, I would have to say that because you're like, you didn't have anything, you didn't have like beef with anybody, you weren't doing any like, drug activity or whatever. You're like, why is this happening? So yeah, for sure, you definitely say like to yourself, like, why me? Like, why would they do that to me?
Did they find the people
No,
that shot you?
no. And I think that might be what
Never?
brings, no real investigation. There's an incident
Wow.
report, but no investigation. So I
Oh
think
my
that's also
God.
what brings up those questions, like why? Because it's an unanswered thing. So you're like, why? But you have to learn to like move on from the why, because that'll eat you up, you know. So the
Hmm.
right now is the survival in the hospital, and I got the tubes in my throat, and then I'm unable to, talk or eat. And then I think like a week or so after that, they realize that they're saying it's permanent. So they take the tubes out and they cut your throat and they put a tracheotomy. So now the ventilator is in your throat, and then that's life support. But I am able to eat after that though now. So now I can eat. So that was a
Wow.
great
Okay.
experience.
Well.
But I'm unable to
Hmm.
talk, but I can move my mouth. and you have to like read my
Mhm.
lips. And
Mhm.
then from there, it's just, like it's 2, 3 weeks not going to sleep until they put stuff in your IV and knock you out. It's nightmare dreams are turning to nightmares, and
Yeah,
and
I
and
know.
nobody knows who did the shooting. Everybody's hearsay, she say, and then not only that, I'm under an alias. I know people by nicknames, so it was just a big ball of emotion, any which way you possibly could imagine, and plus some. Well,
Yeah.
the next stage from there is rehab that you start learning. And so it's like, where are you going to go to rehab? That's where you
Well,
rehabilitate.
how long were you in the how long were you in the hospital? How long were
Uh,
you in the hospital?
September 20th to October 29th. That was the local hospital.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
Oh, September
September
20th,
20th till when?
October 29th. And then from there,
Okay, you're in over a month.
yep. And then from there, because I was going to rehab, I was on a ventilator, all the places locally, then I'm talking about like states and surrounding states, they didn't have any available space yet for people that were on ventilators. So Craig Hospital in Inglewood, Colorado, heard of my story, maybe the hospital or something. They came and did an assessment on me and said we could get him out the ventilator. We're pretty confident. So that was the move. That was it. I didn't want to leave Michigan. I was like
Hmm.
devastated to leave, but it was the best decision ever
Hmm.
because next thing you know, we're flying out to Inglewood, Colorado, Colorado, and then I'm here at Inglewood, Colorado, and I start my rehab boot camp. And that's where the respiratory therapist comes in and turns the ventilator off for 30 seconds and just says, breathe, you're going to breathe.
Oh wow.
Uh-huh. And then they turn it back on and they say, okay, we'll be back. They do it 3 times a day,
Wow.
5 days a week. And then you make progress and you make
Mm,
10 steps forward and you make 20 steps backwards and you do 30 steps
right.
forward. The goal now is to
Yeah.
get off the ventilator. When I got to rehab after I survived, the goal was, that goal was accomplished. Then the goal was to get off the vent. So the goal in rehab was not to physically move the body again. It was to get off the ventilator. It was like steps, but you were
Hmm.
also doing physical therapy and occupational therapy at that time. And then uh, tetra or something like that. That's like where they teach you about your education and awareness of like you and your new self, like everything, what it's going to be
Hmm.
like for you to live life with a spinal cord injury, to be paralyzed from the neck down.
Right.
And then while I
Wow.
was in rehab, a chaplain, I think that's what they go around each rooms and they pray for people, you know. And then this
Hmm.
guy, he
Hmm.
comes
Hmm.
in. He was just like, I want to know one question, or no, one answer. Do you forgive who or whom did this to you? And I wasn't able to speak at that time, but I mouthed like, yes. Like if it was the most powerful word that I've ever spoken without audio, without my voice.
Wow.
Yeah. And then
Wow.
the
Were
world opened up.
you were able to do that? You were able to forgive at
I was able to
right
for,
at that time?
I was able to forgive by my upbringing of my mom. Then my dad and my mom, but my mom always had me going to catechism, was always and uh then my babysitter, she was always reading scriptures to us and stuff like that. So my friend's mom babysat me
Wow.
after we moved to my elementary. So she was very, very I don't know, religious or spiritual, whatever you want to call. I mean, but she was always reading the Bible to us and teaching us. You know, not not.
Did you feel like a burden was lifted when you were able to forgive?
I felt like God was smiling upon this world, like I did right for the once
Wow.
in my life. That was the best decision I've ever made in my life. It is the best decision. It's the best accomplishment and the best decision was giving forgiveness, because it was like I was tested like after 20 years and all these people were looking down at me like, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna answer? And it was like, yes, in a blessed life. and not bitterness.
Wow.
Um,
Mm.
it was like an anchor to my ship, and the cord was cut, and I was able to sail. And I was
Oh,
able,
that's beautiful. Cause I can understand that.
yeah,
Telling my story also is forgiveness. It's not for everybody. Some people are not ready, but it does help, just help you, set you free, set me free for sure. So
yeah,
I understand exactly what you mean.
yeah.
You
And then we
know.
get to work, and then the healing that happens to us, you know, like how we,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, right away, like the four screws came out of my head, so I didn't have the halo anymore. And then they started letting the cuff down on my ventilator, and I was able to power words like hello, hi, like through the ventilator and stuff. And then I was just getting better and
Yeah.
better. I was getting better and better, and then all of a sudden, it was time to go home, but they had to order a wheelchair. Well, the chair that they ordered, either the order got messed up or the wrong chair. And at that time, I was like, what the heck? Like wrong chair. Like, oh no, like, it was a bad thing or something. It was like not a good thing. Like you got the wrong order at your fast food restaurant. But then you figure out
Mm-hmm.
because that mess up, I was able to stay in rehab longer. And because I had that stay longer, I was able to get off the ventilator. Yeah. So
Oh,
it was a
okay.
blessing.
Everything's meant for a reason,
It
right?
was a blessing. It was,
Right.
but I didn't see it at
Mm-hmm.
the time. I didn't see it at the time. But that's a training that you learn now. When things happen now, I don't instantly look at it like, oh, I look at the lesson in it. I look at the positive in it. And I look at the blessing also. So I
Mm-hmm.
might be like, oh, you know what? I've been trying to do this. Maybe I'm being protected. Maybe if I do this, there's not
Mm-hmm.
good about it. So I look at it all now. But that's years and years of
Yes,
training.
that's so true.
So,
It
um,
does. It does take years. I look at things that way too, but it's definitely something that you have to be conscious of with
yeah,
every thought. Like
every thought.
there was a reason for that, good and bad.
Yep,
You know,
right,
there's a
right.
reason.
Yep, I
Hmm.
believe that.
Hmm. Do you
And
believe that? Do you believe that about your accident?
I would say after everything that I've seen and things that's happened and the people that's their lives have changed tremendously and babies have been born and people have been married, that I think it happened for me and not just to me. Yeah. So
Mm.
when the question comes up, which is always comes up, if you could go back in the past, what would you change? Not a thing. Not a thing. Go right back out and
I
get,
agree. I
yep,
agree. And we always put the level of quote unquote badness to people's things that happen, but to us it's all negative, it's all bad, right?
yeah,
So I might say in my eyes, wow, he's amazing, he wouldn't change that, you can't walk, blah blah blah. And some people would look at me and say she got abused by a priest and like it was horrible childhood, and but I wouldn't. It made me who I am. It's made me this caring, loving person who truly cares about people through and through.
right.
So
The
I
quality
want
of
to
life
talk
of
about,
others.
and I'm not rushing. I say this in every podcast. People just have no attention span, which is really sad. But I want to get to like what came from this accident. What I know you're doing so much. So I want to, and you also have your shirt, Inspire, on there for people on YouTube can see it. Inspire. So tell me all about what you're doing to change people's lives for the better.
Well, when I left rehab, I went back to my mom and stepdad's house. The stepdad built a ramp, so I didn't have to go to a nursing home or adult facility. Then I started getting involved. Like I was like, okay, what do I do now? It's like, what are the next steps? Well, I got in contact with the Disability Network and Mr. Zelli when we went and had our meeting there. He said, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do. May not believe it now, but just get involved. So that was my first time like saying, okay, I'm going to get involved. I'm going to testify with my story. Basically he was saying like any cuts in Medicaid, Medicare, long-term care, people go to nursing homes, abuse, whatever it is, get involved. We'll get you there. So my advocacy work was starting to emerge from there. At the same time, he was like, you're also going to be a business owner. You're not going to be able to hire your own caregivers. You're going to do schedules. You are going to be the CEO of your life, basically. And so I started hiring caregivers to
Wow.
take care of me. I started training them the way I wanted
Mm-hmm.
my care to be. And then
Mm-hmm.
it's a process. At the same time, I wanted to go back to school. I learned about Michigan rehab services. So I met up with them, I put a plan together, and I went back to college. Well, I started going to college, commuting back to the same college I was going to. Well, that got old with winter and everything, and just trying to get there. I was just trying to get back to the life I was at instead of just going to college locally. So eventually I stopped that and started going to local college, started going to my community college, just absorbing everything, any class that I could take, just learning. I was doing it. Um, and then from there, I was like, what am I
Mm-hmm.
gonna do now? And I wanted to like work, or I was like, well, I tried starting a record company, but the artists and stuff, it was hard. Everybody wanted to be superstars at that time. So I just like eventually stopped doing it. And then from that though, a guy in Detroit heard about me, and he had a newspaper called the Promoter Newspaper. So he came up and we met up, and he asked me if I wanted to write a column and distribute it. And we had a contract and everything, and I write with my dragon, naturally speaking. So I type my voice. So I did that for 5 or 6 years. Well, I was building relationships in the music industry
Mm-hmm.
also at that time. So eventually the paper, um, it closed. At this time now, I'm also in my own apartment. So we put a plan together when I was at the house, Operation Eric Move Out. By 2000, I was in my own apartment, living independently with 24-hour care. So I was moving quick.
Wow. Inde-
And
yeah, independence is really important, you
yeah,
know.
oh yeah,
You're young, so
yeah, I was in my
very
20s.
important.
So the paper
Yeah.
closes. I'm like, what am I do now? So I started doing some mentoring and stuff for the state of Michigan, learning, getting certified. And then the grant that funded that was on the chopping block when the next administration came in. So that got cut. So I'm like, what am I going to do now? So then I opened up an internet radio station. So now I got an internet radio station. I got a license through Live 365, a blanket license, and everything was going good. I had shows all over the world, and we were putting them together. I had my DJs, Jack Frost, DJ Busto, Dave, and Isaac, and Tim. We were doing great. We had a huge website, streetlevel.biz, the Miz Radio, and then internet radio was in trouble. The royalty rates were getting changed, and internet radio was not going to be able to survive on these new rates. So we went to Washington, D.C. with Live 365 to save the Internet Radio Equality Act. So I go to Congress, I go to House and Senate, and I introduce with other people the Internet Radio Equality Act. Well, it got introduced, it went on the floor, it passed, internet radio saved, radio stations saved, yay! But they found a loophole later on, and royalty rates changed. I wasn't able to afford it, so I shut down the radio station. So it's like, now what am I going to do? So I go back to a childhood dream, my own clothing line, a t-shirt business. Well, the person that I've already built relationships with through Michigan Partners for Freedom, for self-determination, Cheryl, and she works at Goodwill. She had a t-shirt business 10 years ago. So I always wanted to do it. So I said, okay, well, the service I get a service called supportive employment, and they are contracted with GHS, Genesee Health Systems. So we started putting my business plan together, and it took about a year. And then we let people read the business plan, and then rewrote it, whatever the feedback was. And then eventually, I got my friend Ziad to not want to be an investor for the startup, but be a business partner because he owns other companies, and I was going to be able to utilize his attorney, his CPA, uh, you name it, his resources. So I was utilizing them. Also, at the same time, I just met Z because I was fundraising for a new van, January 2010, and he was starting a foundation that was going to put the first ever barrier-free music therapy recording studio. So I was going to get back into music right soon. But we became business partners, and then November 2011, the doors opened to ESC Awareness by Design, which stands for Eric is Ziad. Bring awareness by design.
And you're okay. What? Wait, what does it stand for again?
Eric and Ziad. Ziad's my business partner. Bring awareness by design. Easy awareness by design.
Okay.
And now
And,
doors open up November
uh,
2011.
and then your main thing is inspire.
Inspire is the brand of Easy Awareness.
And then your main logo there is a brand. Okay.
Yep,
And you've
Inspire
had
is the
this
brand.
around, you've been doing this for, okay. And what
Inspire
does that
since
mean for you?
2013. A childhood dream, a clothing line. Inspired. I didn't know it was going to be this, but it really all sparked from meeting Damon John a year into my business. He actually came to Flint for a speech, November of 2012. And the people that were bringing him, I already built a relationship with for years, the Coneys. And so they already had it set up. By the time his speech was over, it was going to be time for me to talk to Damon John. And he was in my business plan when I wrote it about who I needed to talk to because he owned FUBU. And I was going to open a lifestyle brand. So here we are. I get to talk to him. We chop it up. He says, look, follow me on Twitter. Let's stay
Wow.
in touch. So we stay in touch. He starts following my story. And then he starts paying attention to the designs. Before you know it, we're having we're building our
Eric,
relationship.
I'm raising my hand. I'm raising my hand. Who is Damon John?
Damon John, the owner and founder of FUBU, and also on ABC Get Show Shark Tank. And he's my brother,
Thank you.
family.
I knew he was big, but I didn't know, and I'm admitting I don't know everything. So, okay, go ahead. Wow.
Yeah. So we start, building our relationship on social media basically at first. And then we, when I say, oh, we too, then with Jesse, my graphic design artist and assistant, through Easy Awareness by Design, who designed all the stuff that you see, we get a message that says, hey, Damon John says, I'm doing my academy in Michigan. You guys should go out, come out and check it out or go to it or something. So we did. So we went to the Damon John Academy. We learned a lot. I mean, it was pretty
Wow.
amazing. We learned a lot. George was really awesome. I remember when we had like 50 designs that we showed him, and he was like, which one are you marketing? I'm like, all of them. And he was like, no, it was 50 brands. So it wasn't 50 inspires, it was 50 different. He was just like, no, focus on the one that you're gonna go towards.
Wow.
And so that was really the main focus of where we got our stuff together with Inspire. At the same time, we had a website, but we weren't making any sales. We didn't know how to make sales. We didn't even know how to convert. So we shut our website down the next business day. And that's where we opened up Shopify, which we learned from the Damon John Academy. And then we started making sales. And the only shirt that we put up on our website was Inspire, just the original black and white Inspire. We didn't, so it was not a big choice. We kept it very simple. And then from there, we just kept learning. And then before you know it, Damon purchased some Inspire apparel. I think it was like a couple months later, because this was March. So it was like May, maybe April. And then we were like, when's he going to take a picture with it and show it, Then here it is. It's June 13th. It's the Friday the 13th. I'm having a fundraiser for insurance for my van. And then he posts a picture of him wearing the Inspire shirt. And then he wrote a huge story on it. And that was awesome. And then like everybody was really pumped up and geeked up. And so that was on a Friday. So that's what started Inspire Friday. We wanted people to feel like how we felt before the weekend started. So we called it Inspire Friday. So every Friday we start saying, what inspires you? And the people would share what inspires them. Hashtag Inspire Friday. We've been doing that since 2014. It's beautiful. Thank you. And so Inspire is growing now. I'm learning what our relationships are building. And then before you know it, I'm an ambassador for one of his books, the first book. What was the first one that I was ambassador of? Might have been The Power of Broke. Yeah, Power of Broke, Rise and Grind, and Power Shift. So Power of Broke, so I'm an ambassador. So now I learn how to do a book campaign or a campaign at all. How to structure the campaign, social media wise, everything. You're learning all this stuff through being an ambassador for his book. Then 2015 comes in June, and then I get a call, and then he's like, Damon's like, hey, I want you to come out to LA because he read an article in Business Magazine that my friend Christina did that said I haven't taken a vacation since my injury. So he was like, you need to take a vacation. I want you to come out to LA. I'm going to be on the cover of Inc. magazine. We're going to have a celebration. Then I want you to come out to Shark Tank and check out Shark Tank and get the experience.
Oh my God, this is so exciting. And you know what,
Yeah.
Eric? I just looked him up. And normally I wouldn't do that, but I have my laptop next to me and I'm like, I know who this is. He's really famous.
Yeah. Yeah, he's real cool.
Damon John, right?
Yes.
Right? Damon
Yes.
John?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, you probably could
Good
look
for
up.
you.
You probably could look up both our names together on Google and see us.
I will, but I knew the name sound familiar, but now I know who he is. I've seen him on Shark Tank. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So, wow,
So
great opportunity.
yeah, here it is.
So go
So
ahead. So you go to California?
Father's Day weekend, because David wants me out there 6 days later after I talked to his assistant. And I'm like, whoa, how do I do this? So he had me hustling. He had me hustling, getting my stuff together to figure out
Wow.
how to fly, how to get to the hotel, like all that stuff. And all that's in my YouTube under Journey to Inspire the West. You can see me get on a plane. You can see when I get to LAX. You can see when there's no accessible transportation to take me to the hotel until an hour and a half later. And then the van that comes has a fold out ramp, no tie downs, nothing. Yeah, yeah, all of that's there. But you don't want to let that hurt, like put a barrier into this exciting moment. So we go there. It's my dad and my caregiver, John, the one that's here right now. And Damon paid for everything. And we go out there. And I stayed at the hotel, the Ace Hotel, which is where the party, the Inc. magazine party was going to be. That way I wouldn't be late and there wouldn't be any barriers to say I couldn't make it to the thing. I'm there. I'm already there. I was a day early. So we get to that. We have a great time on Monday. He does a speech, which is on YouTube. I do a closing speech. And then Ziad just happens to be out there because he has a couple home care businesses out there. So it all worked out. And I was like, and he could come too. So Z's there. We're all there. And then the next day we go to Shark Tank. And then it's at Sony Studios in Culver City. And that's where you just get the experience of a lifetime. You know, you're there, you watch the people pitch their heart out, their life, their invention, their passion. You know, they're so passionate about it, they're nervous that they're almost making their stomach sick. You know, they're just like, oh, back and forth. There's no audience there. It's just whoever the guests are there that the sharks
Right.
invited, and then the media and like the press. And so I would
I
just,
could never do that. I could never do that. Oh,
yeah, yeah.
I'm so nervous.
I would say
So
this: it would
nervous.
definitely be very intimidating to have that door fling open and then see all five sharks or all the sharks sitting there ready for you to pitch
Yeah.
because you got to know your numbers, you got to know your evaluation, you got to know your story, and you got to know why you're there and what's in it for them. You know, like how if they invest in your business or if they invest, what do we need? Like, why do I need you? Well, and
Right.
you should know who you're going after before you ever get out there. Don't go out there and be like, I'm just gonna throw it in the air, and wherever it lands, it's gonna land. No, do your homework. Anybody that goes to Shark Tank, do your homework before you go.
And that's for everybody out. That's for everybody out there. I would never go on Shark Tank, but
So I got to meet all the sharks. I got to meet all the sharks that were there. We took pictures, and the hospitality was amazing, 150%. And then the catering and all the food and the lunch, it was just a great time, just a great day, just a memorable day. Obviously, if I'm talking about it right now, it's memory that's just it's there forever. And then before you know it, I'm getting back. I'm coming back on the plane and back to Flint, back to my house. I just went through this
wow.
amazing experience and
Yeah.
around really great people and it's cool too because I built relationships with some of them and we still talk to this day. And so really cool people. It's and so what do I do next? Well, and then before that, I I haven't went anywhere in 19 years. I think that's what it was, or something like that. And then in August comes, and the D-Man's got another thing besides recording. They got assisted travel. So we're going to Vegas because when you have a clothing line, in Damon's book, which I learned the very first book, was to go to the magic show. So that's what I was doing. I was just doing what I knew, what I was learning. So we were going to the magic show. And that's the largest apparel uh, show, conference in the world. And so we go to Vegas. Like a month later, what was it? June, July. So 2 months later, we're in Vegas. Then we rent a wheelchair accessible van, and we go to LA too. So we go from Vegas to LA. I got like a bucket list, or like a list of accomplishments that I wanted to do. I wanted to have an Inspire pool party or an Inspire party in Vegas. We got that Club Rehab through the biggest, largest pool party for Inspire. Gave us the cabana. It was amazing, and all because of the contacts and relationships that I
Yeah.
built in the past. And then when we got to LA, one of the things was to have an Inspire party there. Well, we stayed at the W Hotel on Hollywood and Vine, and while we just happened to be talking to the person in the lobby, he runs the rooftop. So he said, "Hey, man, Thursday night, let's have an Inspire party." All right, let's have an Inspire party. And the
That's
other
awesome.
and the other thing was to record at a recording studio in LA, like a professional recording studio. So then, and we got that dream too. We were in Encino at Michael Boniger's house, which he's on all types of scores and stuff like that. And that's where he brought in an engineer and a producer, and then we recorded a song, and that was on the list. And it was just like everything was just happening that was written on the list. It was like
Boy,
it was,
Eric, you have an exciting life.
yeah,
You have an exciting life.
yeah.
Wow.
And
So
then
go
that I
ahead,
also
keep going.
and then I also saw the ocean for the first time. I witnessed the ocean for
Ah,
the first time. Now my cousins also live out there in LA. So Patty and Madison's our daughter, was able to meet up with us at the hotel. And then it was my dad, Ziad, Calvin is Ziad's brother, and then Patty and Madison. And we had to Santa Monica. And we go to the Santa Monica Pier where Route 66 ends. I think that's where it ends. And we eat pier burgers and pier fries, and then watch the sun go right down in the ocean. And let me tell you, that is
beautiful.
an amazing, like unexplainable, unbelievable uh, sight to see the sun just disappear in the ocean. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
and then my friend Marty also was there. They surprised me with my friend Marty Sheedy. He owns Project Scissorgate. It's a foundation. Uh, and they surprised me when I was in LA. He was at the hotel. I was like, "Hey, you guys, Marty's here," and they're like, "Yeah, we brought him." They got me. They kept the secret going. And then before you know it, I'm going back to Flint, and it's like, where do we, here it is. Like, how do you keep up with this momentum? You're in LA, people are loving Inspire. How do you keep it going? And then that was 2015. We just kept. Then I was an ambassador for Damon on a couple of another book. And then 2017 came and I turned 40. Well, I needed a new wheelchair accessible van. So we put together a campaign called We Drive to Inspire. I'm always branding things like events or whatever it is. And we were going to sell Inspire bracelets. Well, that worked out a little bit. We had to start selling Inspire hats, Inspire shirts, getting sponsors, because you're talking, we had to raise about $100,000. So,
Right.
so we start fundraising the day of my birthday. And then March 1st, 2018 comes. And that's when a whole life changing again, 20 years after the being shot. Uh, my caregiver rolls me over to wash me up, and there's a hole. There's a hole in my body in the coccyx area, right by the tailbone area. And didn't know how serious it was then, but I'm still recovering from the bone infection to this day. So
Oh,
we thought it would be a
oh,
month in bed. I ended up having to go to the wound care center every 2 weeks. getting cut on, sizzled on,
Oh,
debrided, and then June 11th.
yeah.
Then June 11th, from the complications of being on bed rest, both my lungs collapsed. June 11th, late at
Oh,
night, and my oxygen level went down to 40. So I was rushed to the hospital.
oh,
Actually, I called the hospital ambulance, and then I got to the hospital, and they weren't able to bring my oxygen level up, so they had to intubate me. So I was intubated, tubes down my throat, feeding tube, so I wasn't able to talk again. And then I communicated with a toothbrush on like a cardboard, looked like a bingo card with letters, and I tapped on it to communicate. And then 15 days later, the tube came out, then the feeding tube came out. I was able to eat again, and I was on oxygen. And all the things that I learned throughout the years and being in the hospital and rehab, I I put them in place, or I put them in action in like 15, 18 days. And then
wow.
I got off the oxygen, and July 6th on my birthday, I came home. But I still had to recover from the collapsed lungs, from what happened. Those had to recover. I now have a a thing called a trilogy. It's like a CPAP BiPAP that I have to wear at night when I sleep. It helps me take deeper breaths. It's a big full
Hmm.
face mask. And also, I had right after I went, the hole opened up in my body, which I forgot to mention. I had kidney stones, so I also had to get those removed like 4 days
Oh,
after. 4 days after, so I'm recovering from everything right now. And then
yeah.
and then that August of 2018, we had a fundraiser for the van, and it was at a hall. My caregiver coordinated, helped put it on, along with family and friends. And then we raised the money from there. And then I raised like 20,000 by then, and I sent the plan over to Damon. I said, "Can you check this out? Let me know what I'm missing. Can you give me some pointers?" He said, "Can you jump on a call the next day?" So I said, "Yep, I can." So we jump on a call. He was like, "Not only is he going to help me with like how to improve, I'm going to get a couple of his staff, a couple of his team members to be able to help me with the fundraiser." So Sherry and George, I started working with them, and then George and I started working, consecutively to get to fundraise for the van, finding out what's the right van, what companies to go with, in-kind sponsorship, sponsors, you name it. And then also, Damon would like promote for them or whatever the agreement was and stuff like that. So I'm fundraising for the van. I'm also on bed rest. And we're talking bed rest. The only time I got up was to go to the urologist and the wound care center. And then 2019 comes, and I'm still on bed rest, and I'm still got a hole in my body. And then May of 2019 comes, and the wound care center says we've done everything we can do. Where there's no more we can do. We've tried. We tried 5 experimental treatments. The hole is not closing up. So I got a second opinion. My friend Ziad had a doctor named Dr. Bruce Rubin. Contact him, tell him what's going on. When can you come and see me? Now. As soon as possible, man. As soon as possible. He gets me in the next day at 1 o'clock. My dad takes me down there, get transferred to the table, and then he looks at the wound and says, "That's not a pressure wound. That's a bone infection. That's an exit wound." So we learned
Mm,
that I had a bone infection. And then when you have that, it burrows a hole out of your body for you to survive, to push the infection out. So he takes cultures and nutrition tests. And then a week later, I didn't want to do IV. So I wanted to do oral, and I went on antibiotic. So I started an antibiotic treatment for the body for 9 weeks. And then in July 16th, the hole closes up. We thought we're saved, like, hallelujah,
wow.
amen.
Hallelujah.
I'm back, and I'm back up in the chair being
Amen.
mobile for 3 weeks. And then a little dot shows up on my right bottom cheek by the ischial. And I thought it
Um,
could be a bug bite, could be a pimple, but we monitor it, we take pictures, and then it just got bigger and rounder and rounder and rounder and harder. And then before you know it, the skin drops out and there's a big hole, a funnel, like a $half size. And then, so he says, "You got to come see me." Then I come and see him, and he says, "I'm not tell you this, you relapse. We got to get you back on antibiotics as soon as possible." So we do that. So now I'm back on antibiotics. But everything I learned from the 9 weeks of antibiotics, I put in action for the next 8 weeks. So it was a lot easier to do. No real problems taking the antibiotics, eating little meals, keeping my belly just full, just enough. So that way I wouldn't get sick.
Hmm.
And then 8 weeks later, that hole closed up. And then before you know it, we purchased the van. And then December 20th, there was an Inspire Friday. I'm going down to get the van, going down to get the new van.
Wow.
And then my wound, by the time
Awesome.
the end of the year, it was pretty much all healed up. So then 2020 comes, new van, back in the chair, healed up, gonna be
Mm.
mobile. 2020 is gonna be
Please
the
tell me
year.
it's good. Please tell me it's good.
2020, it's gonna be I'm gonna be mobile. And then Corona hits, and then I had a plan for that. If it became a pandemic, um, I would leave my house and move in with my caregiver, the one that's here right now, temporarily. We didn't know how long this was gonna be, and figure things out, and all the rest of my staff can stay home, be safe, and the business will be shut down. And that's what we did. So mid-March, left, went to his house, like 24-hour care, stayed away from everybody. Just everybody, you know what I mean? This completely, because learning that it was a respiratory, my cough is,
Yeah, yeah,
that's my cough. So
yeah, you cannot take a
no, can't
chance.
play around.
Yeah.
So I'm there, and then July. Oh, and I'm healed, no problems. I'm up in my chair, morning to night, everything's good. So about 8 months, and then I come home July 26th. It's on a Sunday. Now I got to bring all my staff back. Two didn't come back, so I had to, figure things out, get people on the schedule, and then also reopen the business. And then July 28th, it was a Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. My caregiver rolls me over to wash my booty in the morning, and she's like, "What do we do with this hole?" Like, what are you talking about? I thought maybe a pimple burst. And then when
Yeah.
she got me dressed and up in the sling. It's like a Hoyer lift. It's like when like you see
Yeah.
on Discovery Channel, they put sea animals like in the aquariums and stuff. That's kind of what it's like. It's like a big sling
Mm-hmm.
that carries you. And I saw my bed, and the bed looked like a crime scene. It looked bad. There was blood everywhere, and I knew it was serious. And so then I waited. I thought about it. I tried not to think about it while I was in the chair. And then John came that evening, because he works Tuesday evening at 5:15. And then he got me out of the chair, and then the drum roll as he rolled me over on my side to look at my backside. He's like, yeah, that's what it's the old one, the second one, not the first one, the cox carry, but the one that we just healed, 8 months ago, and it exploded. It
Yeah.
was a big hole. So we took pictures. We contacted Dr. Rubin. He was like, you relapsed again. Like, this could be an ongoing thing. And I was like,
Yeah.
so he gave me choices what to do. And then I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do something completely just different. So I usually drink coffee in the morning. I drink green tea. I drink smoothies. I like my desserts. I like my cheesecake. I like my chocolate. You know what I mean. I not overdo it. I cut out everything and just said I'm gonna drink. My fluid intake is only going to be distilled water. That's it. It's going to be about 100 ounces or more a day. No more coffee. No more tea. No more things that add sugar. The only sugar I'm going to, that I'll get is natural sugar from my mixed bowl of fruit in the morning. You know, um, and I'm going to do it that way. No antibiotics. I said I'm going to do it on prayer and water. That's what I did.
Wow.
Well, here we are,
Wow.
18 weeks later. Will be Tuesday. Will be 18 weeks, and I'm very like 99.99% yield. It's all closed up now, but it still
Whoa.
needs like that outer layer. It needs that toughness still. So we're still doing wound care.
Wow.
So here we are,
Well,
100 and what?
you gotta do, yeah, that's
100.
amazing. But
So I think
not surprising to me
so.
anyway.
So I think the
Because
total
I'm
bed
all
rest
about
for
prayer and good food.
I think the total bed restoration now, if you add it all up, is from the first time to the second time to the third time, it's about 900 days.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and it just been,
So
and
tell me, you've been through so much, Eric.
yeah,
But you're a warrior, man. God. Ah, you feel like a warrior?
I feel like a warrior. I feel like a
You
warrior in everybody
are.
that I talk to. I always involve them with being a warrior. That's like a hashtag
You
warrior. You know, when I find like-minded people, I'll go warriors. We're warriors. You know, like because we are.
unite. Unite.
We do.
Warriors,
We find each
unite.
other. We
We
find each
do.
other
We
in this
do.
world.
Oh, well, yes. And in the way, you've been through adversities like that. That's how I feel. There's that connection with others. That's why I do this, because I feel
Yeah,
a really deep connection with people who have been through, and who hasn't, who hasn't been through something.
right.
Um, so okay, tell me what I normally ask is for the guests to share some words of wisdom with the audience, sort of like a parting something. And it's
Mhm.
what I do on TikTok. I put this little portion, and then that's what I put on all the social medias
Mhm.
for you to just share your message, if you can do that with our
Oh yeah,
audience.
most definitely. The one thing that I've always said from uh, that I talk about all the time is finding your how. Don't say can't, always say how. Because when you start saying things and you say, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do that. Well, yeah, you're not going to because you already told yourself you're not going to do it. But how? How? Think about and think about how powerful how is. When you say, I need to go to the store, how? How are you going to make it to the store? Are you going to go by car? Are you going to go by foot? Public transportation? Is somebody going to take you? Are you going to walk? Are you going to crawl? You going to use your wheelchair? Are you going to uh, use a skateboard? Whatever it is. But how are you going to get from point A to point B? That's your how. And the how builds. See, when you say how to something, when you sleep, when you think, when you eat, right now I'm talking to you, some goal and dream right now is building in my body or in my mind. It's not shut down. It's open. It's an open, growing goal or source. When you say can't, that's it. You've cut it out. You've locked it away. You've shut it down. So I say always say how. Don't say can't, always say how. How may not happen overnight. How may not happen in 5 years. How may not happen in 10 years. Who knew in 17 years that I would be back on the stage performing hip hop music again? Because I never said can't. I always said how. How will I ever be on the stage again? How will I ever record music again? And I'm doing it. So that's one of my things I always say
Love
is don't
that.
say can't,
Amen.
always say how. And the other thing with the inspire, which I've said before, is how powerful
Hmm.
words can be. And I have a quote that says, I never knew how powerful one word could be until I wore it on a shirt.
That's awesome. Is that your quote?
Yeah, that's my quote. Yep.
I love that. And I got to get one of those shirts,
Oh yeah.
because I feel that I inspire people. And that, like, I know I've been told that. Um, I mean, it feels really good to be able to have people feel that I've done something for them. But I love that word. It's so simple, and I
Mhm.
love the design. Just like you said, you don't have to make it complicated. That word says everything,
Yeah. And then now we got
right?
multiple designs to inspire. Yes. Yes, that was the
I love
original.
it.
I was very strict at keeping it just this for a very long time. No different colors and everything. And then finally we did other colors. And then if you go to the website now, there's like over probably like 100 different designs with Inspire. There's like strong women inspire, there's, pray inspire but pray first, or inspire but coffee first. There's nurses inspire, caregivers inspire. There's all, you name it. There's,
That's awesome. Well,
yeah.
I'm a nurse, right? Well,
I didn't.
I don't practice right now as far as being in a
Oh,
hospital or anything like that, but I worked with mentally challenged children, and I worked with Alzheimer's patients. So
oh,
I loved it. I really did when I was doing it, but my hearing has really gotten in the way of that. But
really?
I love the black and white. I wear everything. If you know me, if you see any of my, I'm always wearing my black leggings with my black. I just live in black. I just love it, and the white on it is beautiful. Where can people get in touch with you? And all Eric's information is going to be in the show notes below. Is there anything else first that you want to share with us before we end?
Uh, I would just say, like, if you really make goals, have a plan, make goals. Dreams are possible. Goals can be reality if you really plan it out and have a deadline for them. And if a goal is life changing, you're going to really grind to get it. So if you make a goal like I'm gonna get this TV, but it's not really changing your life, that you're just gonna kind of go, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. I'm gonna buy. When I made a goal for new transportation, that was life changing. And let me tell you,
Right.
30 months of non-stop fundraising. It took 30 months and we got to that goal. And now I'm fundraising for a house. So now it's We Live to Inspire. So I moved on to the next campaign. And that's it, and don't be afraid to ask for help. Don't worry. Don't think you're going to be weak. Don't think that you're not going to be strong enough. Everybody needs help. It's okay to ask. It is okay to ask for help because you want to have a best quality of life. You want the best potential of your life, and you're not going to do it alone. It's just not going to happen. So, oh, okay, that was a
I
couple of things to
Yes, I
say, and
love
then
that.
and then if you want to find me, you can Google me, Eric Patrick Thomas,
Hmm.
and then my social
Hmm.
media handles are under Eric Patrick Thomas, except Twitter. It's Eric P. Thomas, and then Inspire is Inspire Shirt, except Instagram. It's Inspire Shirt number one. And then the website's inspireshirt.com. Inspireshirt.com. There's anything that you heard here that you want to reach out to me, just reach out to me. DM me on any social media site if there's something that you want to hear more of, or if there's something you need help with, or I can, whatever it is, we're all here for you. You know, I'm not going to do it for you, but I could definitely
Thank you.
mentor.
Thank you, Eric. That's very, very kind of you. I also have been telling my guests that you should be on TikTok. You should really, you have a niche, you have a gift, you have something to share, and it's a beautiful platform. It's not for the baby boomers and Gen X's are taking over. And you can spread the word. There's so many, many, many people on TikTok. So check it out.
And can
Being
you do it?
serious. So I
Can
know
you do it on the computer?
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't You have to look into that a little further, but I'm pretty sure you can. Um, yeah, but just check it out. Check it out.
Okay.
And hold on 2 seconds. You guys, I didn't mention in the beginning, but please support me. I need to ask this more often. I've been saying it, but if you can go over and subscribe to my YouTube channel, It's a New Dawn, and also on every major platform. I'm on Spotify and Anchor and what is that? Apple Podcast, all the major podcast platforms. If you can subscribe, comment, share, like, that would really, really help me out. All my links for those all those links will be in the show notes below. They're on my website also, which will be in the show notes. Also, my Google phone number will be in the show notes. And if you need to get in touch with me, you can leave me a message on that number. If you want to be on the show, reach out to me there. And I talk about the Raw Bar every single podcast. I am an affiliate and an ambassador, and they do not sponsor me, but my affiliate link will be in the show notes below. They are vegan, but any diet, they're good for any diet. They have protein from 18 to 22 grams in each bar, all organic ingredients, 11 to 13 net carbs, no artificial sweeteners, put together by coconut oil, really good for your brain. Keeps your blood sugar stable. Sweetened by coconut nectar and blackstrap molasses, a little bit of Himalaya salt. They give 10% of all their net proceeds to feed the hungry children worldwide. I love this company. Go to my affiliate link below. Check out the website. You'll see what I'm talking about. There's pictures of them visiting children and doing all good things. So help me out and you'll help them out. And on that note, thank you, Eric, for joining me. I really appreciate it. Thank you for telling me your story. You definitely are a warrior. So thank you, thank you,
Thanks
thank
for,
you.
thanks for having me on.
You're welcome. Everybody have a wonderful and blessed day.
Take care, everybody.